See this man? His name was Frederick J. Bauer. He invented the Pringles can. He loved his invention so much that he requested to have a portion of his ashes buried in a Pringles can. His story is just one of the thousands of fascinating tales you'll learn about on the popular Cabinet of Curiosities podcast. It's dedicated to all things strange and unusual, and it's hosted by Aaron Mahnke.
He's got a new book of the same name, Cabinet of Curiosities, a historical tour of the unbelievable, the unsettling, and the bizarre. And Aaron joins us now. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning.
So how did you find out some of these tidbits? That had they all been out there floating around and you're just putting them all in one place? Or was this stuff that you had to find that no one really knew?
No, this is all, on the public record. I think it's the beauty of history that we're taught in school that we should just memorize names and dates and move on. But there is so much more to it than that.
Tell us the real life story of Frankenstein.
Well, so in 1803, Giovanni Aldini went to London to experiment on, of all things, the corpse of an executed criminal, a man named George Forster. And he did it with an old style battery called the voltaic pile and used metal prods to kind of poke at the body in different places to see what sort of reactions he got. He did this in a medical theater with people watching from essentially wooden bleachers. And, years and years later, poets in the Enlightenment era were writing about science and details like this. And the Godwin family was part of the poet circle, and they rubbed shoulders with those people. And one of the daughters in the Godwin family was a gal named Mary. And Mary went on to write a novel that everyone's heard of called Frankenstein, under the name Mary Shelley. And, elements of that weird experiment by Giovanni Aldini sort of seep into her novel.
Yeah. Tell us about the dog, Sergeant Stubby.
Sergeant Stubby is so cute, right? From Connecticut, but stowed away on a ship heading over to Europe during World War I. Ended up fighting in 4 major offenses in 17 battles, mostly in France. And became a hero because of it. And today, if you go to the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., you can see Stubby, who's been taxidermied and on display there.
What do you mean he fought in the wars?
Well, he was a companion of the soldiers and helped by doing tasks for them and keeping up their morale, and they saw him as a hero.
Huh.
Wow. Well, we mentioned Frederick Bauer, who wanted to be buried in a Pringles can, and I guess he got his wish.
He certainly did. Yeah. And, when I first heard about the story, I assumed that it would be a person-sized Pringles can. Those stories of folks that get buried in their Cadillac or whatever.
Right.
But no, it was a cremation burial, and most of his ashes are in a typical urn at home, like you'd expect. But some of his ashes were placed into a Pringles can as an homage to the storage device he invented. Of course, the question is, what flavor did his family pick for him? And they went with original because, of course, he was the original.
Okay, talk to us about the American state of Franklin. What's that?
No one's heard of Franklin, right? Well, there was a time in the late 1700s where England made it illegal for their colonists to cross the mountains west from those eastern seaboard colonies. And in 1784, a bunch of people went over the mountains anyway, and they set up what they wanted to be an independent states. The British sent soldiers to fight them. They fought them off, and they set up their own kind of quasi-state headed by a governor named John Sevier. And they petitioned Congress to allow them to make this an official state. They wanted to name it after Benjamin Franklin. And they tried for 4 years. They really had a go at it, and they failed. And then about a dozen years later, in I think 1796, they finally managed to give it a second try. John Sevier became the governor of this new state, and that became Tennessee. But no one's heard of Franklin because it just sort of disappeared into the background.
Wow. And the invention of the croissant was not in France.
It was not. I love the shock of that fact. It sounds typically French today, especially when you say croissant with a French accent, right? But it goes back to, I think, 1683, when the Ottoman Empire was attacking what is now Austria, and they were outside the gates of Vienna, and they were laying siege to the city. And the city of Vienna won, and to commemorate that, they took the symbol from the Ottoman Empire's flag, which was a crescent, and they baked a dessert in the shape of that crescent. And over time, the name has come down to be croissant, and there you go.
Wow. All good stuff. The book goes Cabinet of Curiosities, a historical tour of the unbelievable, the unsettling, and the bizarre. And you can see Aaron at Anderson's Bookshop on November 16th in Naperville and follow him on social media. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you so much, folks. Take care.